Listeners alike, at this particular time, I'd like for you to really, really listen closely to what I'm about to present to you. For it has to do with an article that was recently published. And the title of the article says, and I quote, "Almost half of Americans die nearly broke." I repeat, almost half of Americans die nearly broke. What I'm about to read to you is the article verbatim, and I quote, "Americans aren't known for being great savers." Once again, Americans are not known for being great savers. In a recent gold banking rates study, 69% of adults admitted to having less than $1,000 in the bank, while 34% said they actually don't have any savings at all. But apparently, this collective lack of savings doesn't get all that much better with age. A study by the National Bureau of Economic Research found not so long ago that almost half of Americans die nearly broke. Of the general population, 46% of retirees die with savings of $10,000 or less. Let me repeat that. Of the general population, 46% of retirees die with savings of $10,000 or less. But that number climbs to 57% amongst retirees who are single. Now, when we take other assets like homes into account, the picture gets a bit less bleak. Still, 57% of single adult households and 50% of widow households have no housing equity to show for when they died. The problem is that dying nearly broke isn't just a matter of denying one's beneficiaries an inheritance. Rather, it points to a frightening degree of financial vulnerability during retirement. If seniors, the article goes on to say, are passing without much in the way of assets, it means that in the years leading up to their death, they're ill-equipped to handle a major unexpected expense, such as a significant medical bill. In fact, in the same gold banking rates survey, only 37% of seniors 65 and older claim to have $1,000 or more in the bank. Now, having an emergency fund, however, is just as crucial for retirees as it is for younger folks. And the sooner more people realize that, the less financial insecurity they'll take to the grave. The article goes on to say, and I quote, "Though most Americans don't have the means to cover Though most Americans don't have the means to cover an unanticipated expense, working folks have one advantage over retirees: the ability to earn more to cover their costs." The article goes on to say, but since many retirees don't work, in the absence of savings, they have no choice but to take on debt when a financial emergency arises. In fact, there's a reason seniors 65 and older carry over $6,300 of credit card debt on average, because they don't have much in the way of liquid assets. They are often forced to resort to credit cards to cover whatever unforeseen cost may come their way. But just as working Americans need a minimum of 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses available in an emergency fund, so too do seniors need that same sort of cushion, if not an even greater one. That lack of savings is causing a large number of seniors to not only die nearly broke, but die in debt. The article goes on to say, if you are still years away from retirement and don't have much in the way of accessible savings, you should work on establishing your emergency fund early on so that it's available for when you're older. To start, create a budget that maps out your current expenses and finds ways to cut corners. And if you're willing to make a series of smaller changes, like eliminating several restaurant meals each month or scaling back your leisure spending, you may come to find that you'll be able to build that fund without making too many major sacrifices along the way. Now, if small lifestyle adjustments don't work, however, then you need to start thinking big. And that could mean downsizing your living space to a more affordable property or moving someplace less expensive overall. Or it could mean selling your car and taking the bus every day if that's an option where you live. The article goes on to say if the idea of altering your lifestyle makes you miserable, then your next best bet is to earn more money to amass some savings. Working a few nights a week or a couple of weekends a month might put enough cash in your pocket to build savings quickly. And finally, the article says, make a point to stay away from credit card debt, even if it means working extra to ensure that your bills are always going to be paid in full by the time they come due. Though avoiding credit card debt won't help you build your savings, dodging interest charge will leave you with more money to put in the bank. And once you've entered retirement without an emergency fund, your chances of building one are pretty much slim to none. And with that comes the risk of not only dying nearly or fully broke, but running out of options for paying your bills when they happen to catch you off guard. This article really drives home the point that you, me, we, the ASK THE WIZ Wealth Institute family and listeners alike, we need to make sure that we focus early on obtaining and maintaining our economic liberation by and through the utilization of powerful strategies and techniques that allow us to get PAID, strategies and techniques that allow us to break the poverty chain.